Just say I'm waiting to see some notifications pop up on all of my applications
Yep, I'm
that I
looking.
have.
All right, we should be
Well,
on.
I just saw Facebook pop up. I'm pretty certain that's what that means.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, hold on. Allow.
YouTube's up.
Thank you.
All right.
Let me make you host real quick. There we go.
Minimize so many screens. Open up these chats.
Yep. And I'm just gonna double check YouTube one more time. Everything should be good up and running. Yep, I see it.
LinkedIn's up.
Awesome. Thank you, Mark.
So everything except for TikTok, correct?
Yes.
Everything
Yep.
for TikTok. Yep, looks great, Ange, by the way. Yep,
Awesome.
full screen, side to side. And we are live, everybody. Welcome to American Dream Trading. This is your host, Ange, that's up on the screen. She'll be taking you through all that is futures and futures trading. So we'll join us here for the next 2 hours, and I'll turn over the floor to Ange. Ange, good luck, and
Thank you.
congratulations on your new position here at American Dream Trading.
Yes, thank you. Well, welcome everybody again. My name is Ange, and I am here with American Dream Trading, and we're going to do a deep dive into futures, and we're going to learn some things, and we're going to do some charting, and we're just going to go through this and have some fun. So, that being said, right out the gate, um, one of the biggest disclaimers that I need to throw out here for everybody is just make sure that if you're going to come in here to the futures and start trading, that you're paper trading to begin with and training, not trading. And most importantly, make sure you come in here and you're using your stops. There'll be more formal information coming tomorrow as we work through some of the kinks today to get this live and out there for everybody. But I wanted to make sure that I threw out that right out the gate so that nobody comes in here and rips and gets in these trades and gets your face ripped off. So that being said, can I have one of you moderators who has it handy because I don't, grab the today's special for futures while I pull it up myself, please? Can somebody do that for me while I find it or tell me where it's at?
Yeah, for futures, I can talk about it briefly. We
Thank
have
you.
now 250 monthly. We have 3 month for 750. We have 6 months for 1,500, and then we have the yearly for $2,500. So if you're interested in joining us to learn about futures, we can sign up at americandreamtrading.com. Available, all memberships available for all levels in terms of price points. If you want to do it for a month or 3 months or 6 months, I will caution you and warn you that there is a lot to learn. So if anything, I would probably get myself into a few more months than just a monthly. But hey, if you want to do monthly, that's okay as well. But just if you're looking to do this long term, 6 months, 12 months, I would definitely look in investing into this and investing in yourself and giving yourself more time so you're not in a rush, because I can promise you there is a lot to learn and there's a lot to go over, just specifically on the future side. So you don't want to just do a monthly and then say this isn't for me and give up, and then that's it. Invest in yourself, invest in the time. Back to you, Ange.
Don't we have
Awesome.
some
Thank you.
specials running today on futures?
We
We do.
have
So today's super sale for today is buy any futures membership and get 2 for 1. So if you buy a month, you get a month free. You buy 6 months, you get 6 months free. Buy 1 year and you get 1 year free. So I encourage everybody to please don't miss out. Go over to americangreen trading.com to get yourself set up.
And while you pause there for a second, I'll also go over our disclaimer. Chad, Christian, or any member of American Dream Trading are not licensed to give out financial, investing, or tax advice. None of us are financial investors or licensed to do so. So this is for training and educational purposes only.
Thank you, Bruno. All right, so should we get started? We get started, guys. So normally I would start with some training and kind of come in here and ask questions. So I'm assuming we're going to start with that for today, and we'll get this more formalized and moving forward. Since we're still continuing on with training, we'll be a little bit lighter on the training and more on the charting and the levels and things like that today. So for anybody who has any questions right out the gate, if you could be so kind to raise your hand and we'll get you called on, and we'll move through those as we go. And then I'll be also paying attention to the charts. So anyone who's in here watching any of the micro minis or e-minis, if you see something, say something. Let's pay attention to the too many EWOs or any excellent scalping opportunities that are out there for those of us who scalp. And we can cover all of that too as we go. So it'll run similar to how the Zoom, how the normal Zoom runs that we have throughout the day when Coach is in here. And so we'll build off that over time. So it'll be a little wonky here in the beginning, but it'll be more formal as we go. So if you have questions, guys, go ahead and ask. I'm going to look for the hands here, and we'll work through that. Gopher guy, you have a question. What can I help you with?
Yes, working on my paper trading account, and everything appears to be in order. I duplicated the screen that was illustrated yesterday that you had. But in the trade section, it's got a brown box that says not available just below time and force and exit out, extended hours, and it won't let me do anything. I don't know what's missing, but
Sure. That's a great question. So I just switched my screen over to the paper trading side. Do you see that?
say that again, please.
Do you see I have switched my screen over to paper trading. Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay, so up in the top right-hand corner, it says stocks and options in orange.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? If you click on that, change that to futures.
I got it on futures.
You have it on futures,
Yes,
and it still says not available.
correct.
Interesting.
It would make
So your
both.
extended hours should change.
Yeah, and on your regular, on the right above that as well, where yours is already on futures, make sure both of them are
Oh,
on
yeah.
futures, even though that you're not
Yes.
using your real account.
Yep, I've got it on the futures tab is up as opposed to the stock and options.
Interesting. Have you tried to refresh your screen?
Yeah, and it just comes right back to the same.
What trade
disabled
widget are you using?
Just the regular trade widget. So just like what Ange is showing on her screen, but it's not cooperating.
And then all of them are grouped to the same. You got them all grouped.
Yes, I do.
If you could take a screenshot of your screen, I mean, obviously I don't want your account information, but it's a paper
Oh,
account.
wait a minute. I take that back. My box was not clicked in that screen to go to the other ones, and now it does say simulated by MES4, so that did activate. Okay. That's what I was missing.
Okay, great. Good.
All right. Sorry
And
about
I was
that.
at a
then
loss. I'm like, I don't know what else to help you with on that one. I just know those few things.
Yep. And then
And
there's
also,
a turbo. Go ahead.
Go ahead about the turbo trade. I had something about turbo trade too.
Well, there's a futures turbo widget for turbo trading that you want to use and not the regular one. It's going to give you more details, and it actually combines both the regular trade widget per se and then the turbo widget. you could enter any price at a limit, you can manually enter it, and then you also have the Turbo Trader button. So I would recommend, if you're comfortable, but using the Turbo Futures, or I think it's Turbo Trader Futures or Futures Turbo Trader widget, rather than the regular Turbo Trader widget if you're going to use the Turbo Trader.
Oh, okay. I'll get that situated. Okay. And for anybody that's like when they're jumping in like now, the tab on the bottom that used to have the raise hand, now it just says reactions, and you have to go into reactions and raise your hand from within reactions on that bottom bar in case anybody's having trouble getting in, to let you know, hey, I have a question.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, they talked about this morning in the Zoom. It looks different on my end.
So, okay, that's what I have for the moment. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Who else? Anyone? All right. Well, okay, Mark, yes.
Question in the YouTube live chat. It was from Greg S. asks, what is the minimum funding needed for trading futures in the Webull application?
Awesome. Well, hi, Greg, and welcome. So the minimum that you need to fund your account for Webull is $500. What that does is that'll set your margin account for futures. So minimum is 500. In addition to that, be mindful that this is a margin account. So at the end of the day, if you're in here trading real money, which you shouldn't be, you should be paper trading only. When you are in here and you do decide to start trading with real money, that you must, at the end of the day, have $500 in that account to keep from having a margin call. So you will get a warning. I believe it's 45 minutes before the end of day if you are below that $500, reminding you to go in and deposit money to get back up to your margin status, which is that $500. If you do not do that, like I said, you'll get a margin call. Okay. In addition to that, I need everybody to be very, very aware of how the margin works. In the futures lounge, a part of ADT, we have this information posted already, and we talk about this every single day. This is a margin account. So when we are in these future contracts, you need to be very aware that if you go below, and it's not just that $500, you can actually lose more than what you actually put in for that particular futures contract. And I can go over this a little bit more later, and kind of walk you through a little bit of it. But just know that it's one of the reasons why we need to make sure we have stops. I have Webull getting a document up for us to have within our Discord to share with everybody what would happen if you let a contract go without a stop and it plummets. And you can actually, like I said, lose more than what you actually put into it. So document is coming for that, but just be very aware that you can lose more than what you put in. So please, please, please use your steps and treat this as you would as if it was a margin account on the cash, side, or sorry, not on the cash side, but on the stocks and options side. So please be very careful. What else we got in here? Any other questions? All right, so I don't see any other questions. So we'll go ahead and go through some of these here and see what we got. If we can find anything running, I would encourage everybody to come in here, and I have my watch list set for futures here. And I just pull the mains. And the reason I have these set up for the main is I'm going to do all the charting on the main one versus the individual for each month. So I'm going to pull up a separate let's see here. Here we go. Kind of show you a little bit here, break it out a little bit more so you can see what I'm looking at. So here is the watch list I have for futures. These are all the, most of them are the micro minis, e-minis, and I have a couple that are a little bit bigger. So the reason I have this set up this way, where I have the main, the symbols that have the main inside of it, is because I want to go and chart each of these. If I were to go and chart the individual ones, so if I go in, this is probably going to move this and we'll be able to find it. Let me move this back down here a minute. Down here in the futures, so under the micro e-mini S&P 500, if I go and I chart under, say, this MES Z4, if I were to chart in here, when this contract expires, I will lose all the lines that I've created. So if you're like me, usually I will come in here every day and reset my lines. I haven't done that because I was too busy today, but I would go and reset all of these to match, or I would just put key levels. If you do that under the per month contract, you will lose these when these expire. So it's, from what I can tell, best practice would be to come in here and do it under the MES main. And the lines will carry over, day over day. Now, I cleared this out earlier today because I was going to go through here and change all of these, and I ran out of time. So I've already come out and taken out all the lines that were already in here, just for the sake of training today. So those are all out of here. So if I go back to the watch list, let me find out where it ended up after I moved it. Maybe. There we go. So the main watch list here, like I said, is these are the main contracts that I follow each day. And I use these all for the sake of charting as well. So while I'll come in here and I will take a peek at the ones that I may see, like a runner or see something that catches my attention, this is the main ones that I use. So I'm going to go ahead and close this because I don't need it. Well, does anybody have any questions about the watch list that I can cover before I close this one down?
What menu do you keep that under? Under
The
your
watch list?
Yeah, you just keep that under the order entry, positions, news, and all that, or
Yes, that's where I put mine. Yeah.
okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So for me, I want to make this as simple as possible. And you guys have seen over the course of the last 2 weeks, this has changed a little bit from where it was the first day. It'll probably evolve again. But what I tried to do with this setup here is I use the L2. So I wanted to make sure that I had the L2 handy, because I do use this on the future side, just like I did in the stocks. And I have a chart here and make sure that this is exactly how I want my setup with the charts with all of the indicators that I need. So it carries the EWO as well as the ATR. And then I still have a couple over here. Turbo futures is super handy. You don't actually need the trade. I still have it on here, but the turbo futures will actually have it so you can go and change your limit price. It gives you it automatically puts the one here for the limit price. So if you're paying attention to what I'm doing here, so watch the number here on the buy, and it'll change it for the sell too. So if I change this, it changes that number. And what's nice about that, if you're using the L2 like I do sometimes, and I want to put an order in below or above where I'm looking to get in or to short, you can go ahead and change the number to where you want it, and you can buy or sell it at that number and wait for it. So it is built in here. So that's really nice to have. And then it also has the market buy and the market sell below. So this feature is also down here. If you have your order confirmation box checked when you go and place an order, it will pop up a box for those of you who are new. it'll pop up a box each time and tell you that, make sure that you're okay with the fact that it's going to tell you that you're going to place an order. So I don't necessarily recommend keeping that on there. It's really annoying. If you're a scalper like myself, that's cutting into time that it takes for you to place an order. But if you need to have that on there for your own safety's sake, by all means do so. Okay. Any other questions on that before we move forward? Yes, Mark.
Yes, about runners. In the currency market, you have the Japanese slash over US dollar is running upward.
It should already be in your minis.
Yeah, that's
or micros.
FX futures.
Oh, that's right. Thank you. See, and I don't look outside of this very often. I went too far.
Or is it not in the mic? Is it a micro?
No, it's in FX futures.
Okay.
JPY slash US dollar. I mean,
Oh, look at that. All right. Well, while we have this pulled up, let's take a look at it and then let's do some charting. So if you're going to come in here, again, I have to throw a disclaimer out here that I am a scalper. So I'm always going to look at it as a scalping opportunity. So I'm going to be looking in a general area. So I'm going to be looking somewhere between VWAP, and that's this gold line right here. And then I'm also going to look somewhere between the 55. So I'm giving this just a gap or a space to do some charting, to do it fairly quickly. This, it is not 1 minute. This looks so different. All right, so let's see what we got here. I'm going to change this to the 5 minute for a second and get a bigger picture and see what I'm looking at. See if there's anything that stands out. You can see right here that it clipped VWAP disappear on, we could make this a resistance line. I'm going to go ahead and put a line here for the minute. And I'm just going to leave it blue. I'm not going to change the colors at the moment. And I'm just going to mark that for the time being. Then I'm also going to look for anything else that really stands out. Nothing stands out to me. So I'm going to go back to I'm going to check the 2 minute a second and to see what we've got here. All right, so I'm going to put a line right here at the 0.0065. Just to break this down a little bit and make it a little bit smaller so I can kind of see what I'm working with here for the sake of possibly coming in here to scalp this. And I'm going to put another line here, and that is at the 0.065,995. The reason I did that is because we had multiple touches here, which to me is an indication that it might bounce off of this one way or the other. I'm also paying attention to the other indicators. Again, I use my indicators. I pay attention to how the indicators work. And with lots of screen time, you'll be able to identify bounces that will occur off those indicators as well. So I'm going to go back to the 1 minute now. And then I'm going to make this a little bit bigger because now that I've given myself an opportunity to kind of put some lines on here and just give myself an idea of what is potential to come, this will paint a little bit of a picture of what I'm looking at. So this is bouncing off that 0.06599, and I'm just going to sit and watch this for a second. So as a scalper, I typically am going to pay attention to whether it goes above or below the 9 because we can buy going to the upside, or we can do a short and sell also. So because if we were going to get in and do a short on this right up in this general area around the 0.0066048 would have been the best opportunity to short this. But because now it looks like it's starting to channel here, we're going to wait. And I'm going to wait to see what this decides to do. And I can do this a couple different ways. I can either look at the L2 and kind of base my decision or my choice off of that, or I can just kind of sit and wait and watch to see what the candles do and or how the indicators react. So typically I would just sit here and wait patiently for this and see what it's going to decide to do. And I won't wait too long because dead air is annoying. Right now it looks like it can't decide what it wants to do. So I would, again, just sit here and wait patiently. If this was me by myself, I would have moved on already. If when Mark put this in here, uh, it would have been moving a little bit differently than what it's doing now. And that's something else to throw out there for everybody too. When a call out is made, while we're not a call out group, it's an opportunity for you to go and take a look at what's happening, and chart it for yourself and review what's happening. You should be able to talk yourself through what a particular future is doing before you ever pop into it. So you should have a general idea of what it's going to do before you get in it. And then once you get in it, you need to be able to know where you're getting out at before you need to understand and know how to do that before you ever hop into these with real money.
And there's naturally currencies are always going to run a little bit slower
Now, see, for
than your
me as a
indices
scalper,
or your
I'd be
equities.
watching this and waiting to see what it was going to do, if it's going to stay above the 9, which the 9 for me is the blue. 30 seconds is a really long time. So while we're waiting to see what this is going to do, I would typically move, like I said, I'd move on to something that has a little bit more movement or a little bit more volatility, because I like that quick movements. And you'll notice throughout the day, you'll notice some catalysts that will make these have extreme movements. Using this morning as an example, if you were in crude oil this morning around 10:30, numbers came out. And when those numbers came out or the news came out for it, you saw some extreme volatility happen and it went to the downside very quickly. So you got to be very aware of news catalysts that come out. And I would encourage everybody, and I'll put this in uh, the chat box for everybody, the CME group website, where you can get additional information uh, for like what the news is and when it's going to happen. The CME group website is really the Bible for futures. And so I would encourage every single person to go in here and really get to know and understand how that website works. And you will learn a lot. Trust me, you will learn a lot. Okay, so it broke the 9. I don't like how slow this one is. Or this scalper. No, I hit the wrong button.
What chart is that y'all watching? I'm sorry, I just got back.
US dollar or the Japanese to the yen to the US dollar.
Oh yeah, I was trading that. I was trading that last night.
All right, I'm watching this yen again here. See what it's going to do. It's got 13 seconds left. Let's see what it's going to do.
Nettie in the Zoom chat is calling out natural gas NG Maine. Maybe that's more exciting. Huh?
Angie, I have a question.
Yeah, see, to me, it's channeling. At this point, this one is channeling between the 6006, the 0.0066, and then the whatever this one is here, the 0.00659.
Yeah, Mark,
What do
your
you guys have
currencies
questions
are all
about that I can
yeah,
answer for you? Charting, anything you'd like. I'm just going to make a line here for charting purposes.
Mark, your currencies are always going to run a little bit slower than everything else. It's just the nature of Forex. Just FYI.
And then they get extremely
Okay.
slow after like 11 o'clock. Like they really slow down after 11 o'clock, I guess, because it's the end of
Yeah.
the day. Yeah.
Yeah, they're good for new traders and swing trading, because they do move slow. So once you're getting used to everything,
Here's a
it's
good one.
something that's pretty slow.
So the E-mini Dow Jones. Now I still have lines on here from, I don't know, one of these last couple days. So this is a good EWO option, it looks like here. So let's do some lines. Let me change it to the 2 minute. Throw some quick lines on here. It's below VWAP. All right. I'm gonna throw a line down here just for my sanity. I like to chart these a little bit differently than most do. So I threw a line down at 42526. I'm gonna throw another one. We're above the 9 here. I'm gonna look and see where else there might be something worth throwing on. Yeah, I have a lot of lines on here from the other day. Looks like I need to change the color of a couple of these indicators, which I can do that later. So it looks like we have a steady climb to the upside here. Yes, Ken, you have your hand up.
Yeah. You said something earlier, and I've heard Coach and some others say it. You said in 13 seconds something was going to change. Where do you see the time that you're looking at? Like when you said 13 seconds.
I didn't hear you, Ken. If you still have a question, go ahead.
Yeah. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Oh.
I can hear Ken. Can you hear me, Ange?
Yeah, so
No,
I
I
don't
don't think
think
you can
Ange
hear.
can hear us because
No, I don't think so either.
Okay.
I thought my mic wasn't
So
working
Ken, when you come
earlier
back,
until
if you
you
still have a
spoke up.
question, go ahead and raise your hand again.
Yeah, we got a messenger.
Oh,
Yeah, I just put a thing in the chat. I'll answer that for you real quick, Ken. If you look at her chart up there on the right-hand side, you'll see a timer, a countdown timer. Once every candle starts. She's got it in a 1 minute chart. So see that countdown timer on the right in the middle of
can you guys hear me
all
now?
those lines.
No.
We could hear you, but you can't hear us apparently.
Can't-
So right there on the right-hand side, there's a setting that you go into the chart settings and you can change that so it has a countdown timer, how much seconds are left on that candle. So this is a 1 minute, so it'll be, countdown from 60 seconds before the next candle starts. See it there?
I see that in the chart itself, right? On the top right.
Yep, top right, or just over a right in the middle of the chart there. Right above the white number, it says 42,645 on her chart. See the countdown timer right above that? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boom. Now the next candle starts.
Can you hear us, Ange?
Yeah, I can now.
Okay. There you go.
Okay.
Go ahead, Ken. You can ask her that question one more time.
Yeah, Ange, can you show me the countdown clock that Mark was saying? You know, you said earlier, like, yeah, 13 seconds, and I've heard people say that before, and I don't see the clock that you're looking at.
Oh, sure. So you see my Weevil screen, correct?
Yes.
Awesome. So over here on this would be the right axis. You see where it says like the 42,839. So you see this right here. Do you see my mouse?
Yeah.
Okay. So right just below where the ticker is showing right here. See that 7 seconds, 6.
Okay. And that's when the candle's changing.
Yep. So now it's going to reset. And now the timer will restart to 1 minute because that's the 1 minute interval I have selected.
Got it. Thank you.
You bet. And so if I change it, right? So in case you're not familiar, if I change it to the 2 minute, that clock will change to that 2 minute interval and it'll do the same thing for the rest of them. And I'll go back to the 1 minute. Yep. So it's got 30 seconds left here. So now that this is coming back down to the 9, as a scalper, I'd be watching this to see if it's going to break that 9. Typically, depending on how you get into this, if I would have gotten into this earlier, I would be watching to see if it would stay below the 9. If it stayed below the 9, I'd be thinking about getting out of it. And that just comes from you doing stocks. You can do the same thing with futures. You've heard the term waiting in the weeds or waiting at support to get picked up, to ride it back up to whether it's a resistance or another key critical area, to scalp it. So it really just depends on how you want to come in here to do that. From a scalper's perspective, that's what I'm waiting for. So as you see, it's hovering right here on the 9, which is this blue line right here. And so I could come in here and watch this real close, and I could scalp this at the 9 and watch for a pop in volume and ride the candle up and get out of it pretty quickly, like just like that. Or I can wait a little bit here to see what it's going to decide to do and pop in and wait, or I'll wait for it to come back down to support and I'll ride it back up. The nice thing about futures is and how it's set up like a margin, is you can both ride it up to the upside and then short it. So you can ride it from support up to resistance and short it from resistance to support. That's really nice. And if you can get a good channel, you can sit in here and you can do this all day long and all night. Oh, let's see. Mark, did you answer Brandon's question about how far back do you go? I'm trying to figure out where I left off with questions or where questions.
No, I did not. No.
Okay. So Brandon, you asked, when you enter your futures trade, how far back do you place your stop loss? That's a really great question. So disclaimer for the stop losses, it really is going to depend on what your risk is that you're willing to risk with each contract. So your risk profile and how you approach it is going to be very different than, say, myself or coach or Mark or whomever. Okay. So after doing some practice and trying to decide with my skills that I have as a scalper, I like to stay between 15 and 20 or 15 and 25 ticks. That is where I have my stop loss, because you have to give yourself some room with some of these contracts. You have to give yourself enough room because some of the breathe backs that can happen will stomp you out immediately. Like you can put your order in and your order is gone and you get stomped out. So it really is going to depend on what works best for you. I can show you, let me think of one like right off that's crazy. Here's a good one. So crude oil is an excellent example. So check out these wicks that happen. And if I go back this morning, what today is the 23rd. If I go here, say, for example, an inexperienced trader who comes in here and has no idea what they're doing, right? And obviously you're doing this in paper trading. And you come in here and say you have a stop loss that's say 5 ticks. If you thought, oh, this is going to go to the upside, right? And it's going to keep going. So you get in somewhere in this general area around the 70-58 mark, or maybe the 70-60 mark. And you only have a 5 tick, stop loss. You get up here to this point, and if you get in, say, we'll say right about here, because you think it's going to continue to go up, and this red candle comes in, this wick's going to stomp you out. So you're not giving yourself enough space to have your stops. So 15, like I said, 15 to 25 will be super helpful. Again, you're going to have to toy with it, because depending on which one you're in, that could be a $5 to $15 stop loss. So you got to know coming in here what you're willing to lose in case that happens. So if you're not willing to lose that, then you need to have a tighter stop. Or you may need to find another stock that is less volatile, that you're not going to get stomped out as quickly. You asked, what is your preferred time interval? So I'm a scalper, so I do the 1 minute. Outside of doing training, I typically don't ever change out of the 1 minute ever when I'm trading. Never ever. If you're doing the 2 minute EWO, you'll want to have the 2 minute interval.
Hey, Ange,
Yeah. Hi, Nate.
I noticed, I've already funded my account and I started trading gold this morning. And I noticed right off the bat that you talking about the stop loss. When I went to the like if I did 2 contracts and I just did a $20, just on the dollar, I did a $20 stop loss. I noticed I got stopped out real quick, real quick. So once I moved it up to $30 to $40, I noticed my trade ran a much longer, and my profit grew, you know, a lot, because I wasn't even in there close enough for it to get stopped out. So that was true. I didn't think it would make a difference, but it does make a difference on how much you put in that stop loss.
Yeah, and it's definitely gonna make a difference. And to add to that, it's going to be uh future specific, right? So what 20 $20, or whether it's 15 ticks or whatever the case is that you choose to look at, it may be different for each one. So what works for crude oil may not work for gold. What works for
Right.
gold may not work for the S&P. So I would encourage everybody to pick a couple, and follow, and get familiar with what those look like, and get a feel, make some notes, so that, hey, if I'm going to get in crude oil, then I probably should have 15 to 25 ticks to get started. And then you can move it up according based on how volatile it is. But outside of that, like, it's going to be specific, and yeah, and like you said, Nate, like, you'll learn with some trial and error, right? So you just got to be open and willing to take a little bit of risk, which you can do that on the paper side. You don't need to do that with real money, and get an idea of what that looks like before you ever get in and do it for real.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you on that, Nate. And with the futures and everything, like, even because I had my chart still on UJ, and like
Right.
it looked like on the yen, and it looked like, we was waiting on it to go up, and it made the move to the upside. But as soon as it went up to the upside, a big counter just came down. And I was when I was trading last night, I was messaging Mark, and I showed him a trade that I was in, that I rushed in, and I told Mark I was like, a rule of thumb for a breakout with currencies is like, and it's just me, I think like 99.999% of the time, whenever I see a currency break break a level to the upside or the downside, it always retests. So like you don't have to rush. Like if you miss a move, just wait. It's gonna come back. You know, like you always gonna have a chance to get in. It's just like to me, I think I ain't never been wrong being patient. All right. Even if I miss the move, it's gonna be a next one. Because if you rush in there and then you don't give it enough room, it's just gonna cause you to get stopped out for no reason, you know?
Right. And I noticed something else too, and this morning when I was trading gold, I always, caught it off the bottom, then traded it to VWAP, and then waited for it to see if it was going to bounce off VWAP. If it bounced back down, then I would catch it coming back down. It's really quite easy to do it, but I see to get it more fluent, you really gonna have to play with it and put those stop losses in regardless, because you can really, I see where you can really be profitable with it, but you really gonna have to learn, get you a little, system going on how you want to trade it. And I think for me, that's about the easiest way I can trade it, is catching it off the bottom bounce, and then trade it up to VWAP, see if it breaks. If it don't, then trade it back down to the bottom again. So that's what I'm finding out is working good for me.
Hey, Ange, in paper trading, is it fair to assume that either in trade or turbo trader that there's no, you cannot get turbo trader for futures in paper, or stop losses in either trade or turbo trade?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah,
Okay, I just wanted to confirm
thank you,
that.
Aaron.
Yeah, as I was thinking, I'm
No,
missing
you can set stops. You can set the price you want it to stop at. You just have to
Right.
go into the like classic trade and go in there and modify your current order and put in, choose, sell, stop. So go over the order, stop. Yeah, there you go. Set a stop. And then when it hits that price point, it'll sell. That easy.
Yeah. And it's
Oh,
really
okay, I
quite
see what
it's
you're
really
saying.
quite easy. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really quite easy, Mark, to move fluently from, a call to a put, from a put to a call. It's really
Mhm.
quite easy. I noticed it was real fluent in doing that. So that made me feel pretty good about it.
Yeah, and I think for new traders coming in who either have never traded before, or have very limited skill set, pick one or the other. Start. Start with getting in at support and getting out at resistance. Wait, let it come back down again, write it back up, and start with that so that you, for one, can teach yourself some patience, and two, that right out the gate, you're going to consume a lot of information, and this can be a little bit overwhelming. I can remember being new myself at one point in the trading world in general, and thank goodness that I had to teach myself patience from the very beginning, and trusting that, and trusting the process. So teach yourself some patience and have patience with the process. There's always going to be more opportunities to get in and out of these because of how the margin account will reset after each trade. You don't need to be in any hurry to, make a trade out of something that doesn't exist. Just wait patiently, find the best setup, and then get in. Other
And did
question?
you
Any
ever
other
find
questions?
out
Yeah,
the hours?
go ahead.
Did you ever find out the hours of trading?
Yes, so that is listed they're listed in the education side. I will pull it up so that I
Okay.
don't fumble through it.
Okay. No
Let me find it. Yeah, and we can cover that.
Hey, and while you looking for that, to piggyback
Mhm.
off what you said about new traders and doing the buys and the sells, So I still do this to this day. I just trade whatever side that the trend going with. If price is moving in
Good
the
idea.
uptrend, I'm gonna only look for buys. I don't even try to sell because I mean every now and then I do a counter trend trade, but I don't even want to go that way because whenever you trade counter trend, it's just going to be sloppy. It's going to be a lot of pullbacks. Price is going to be against you. It can stop and go against you at any time. It's just a whole lot smoother. Like if it's going up, you in all buys, or if it's going down, you in all sells. You know.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about that just because I'm so, and this is where that, and I can finally say this too, like when you know different strategies, right? So I can do stocks, and I can trade shares, and I know how to do options now, and now I'm on the future side. So separating out how the process works and on the stock side when you use a cash account, you have to look at it differently than what you do in the future side. So you got to be able
Yes.
to switch your mindset to how those work. I never had that before until I switched gears. So I can now relate where I have to pay very close attention to how that works and paying attention to what exactly it is I'm in. So I'm either in futures, or I'm in shares or stocks, or I'm in options. So just knowing the difference and knowing what kind of account you're working with, whether it's a cash account, margin account, or a futures margin account. All right. So, oh, you know what? I wonder how to do that. I don't know how to do that when I have just the shared screen. So I think uh so Bruno, somebody put it in the Discord. Um, maybe.
Yeah, can you put it in the chat room?
Yes,
At least
In
I
the
can go
chat.
in there and get it.
It's in the
Yeah.
chat.
it's in the chat.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you. When I get
you
home,
bet.
I'll go ahead and do that. Yeah.
If you have something on another screen, and you can drag it from your other screen right over top of the one that you're sharing, and it'll show it.
Yeah, but this should just be the Weeble screen you see, but let's test it because I got it. Not very savvy. You see that?
No, not if you're just sharing just
I
the
didn't figure.
Weeble.
Okay, that's what I thought. Thank you. Let's see. Looking to see what other questions we have. I'll also throw in this, and I'll put this in the lounge as well for everybody. So here is the CME group. I'm going to put this in Zoom first. Here is the CME group trading hours. So this will have it where you can find the filter for the holidays. It will also give you the option to look at the day-to-day hours as well. So, and then it'll tell you what the holiday itself will look like. So, Thanksgiving looks like it's the next one for 2024. So, this is the holiday data. And then you can break this down even further to show you what the day hours is. So, Globex or aftermarket, it will give you those hours too, and then that time frame of where there's that hour break, and then when it starts back up after or over the weekend. So you'll see that on the site. So let me put this in Discord as well. Especially with the holidays coming up, this will be super friendly to know. Jade mentioned that she loves using the trading view to trade futures, and then she's using the paper trading side. I would have to agree with you. While I'm biased to using Webull, that platform as a whole, I do like how TradingView has it set up where the Webull is where Webull is connected, and I will dabble more with that myself for the sake of knowing how to do both. And anybody who's out in the chat that has traded futures before here with American Dream Trading, we currently are using Webull as our main platform because that's what we use for stocks and options as well. So we just, for the time being, we just have it set up where we do it this way. If coach shares his screen, he trades on TradingView. So you can do both. And in time, we'll do both as well, or I will. Oh, where did YouTube go? Any more questions? Let's see. Great question, Brandon. So the commissions per contract on Webull are going to vary. So let's take a look at one for example. So the best way to look at this, and this is part of the reason why I have this, because I actually have this set up where you don't see the bottom of this screen to protect my information. So I do have the trade feature up here, so that you can see this as a bigger picture. So for the MCL main here, this tells you what the margin that you would need to use to place an order or buy a contract for the MCL main. Okay. And then this tells you what the commission fee is specifically for this. So you can find this information or the breakdown of each individual main or any of them that you're looking at in the Discord under the futures education. It will give you what the estimated fees are for each one, but you can also look at it on the Webull page itself. So here it'll tell you, so for the MCL main, the estimated transaction fee is going to be this $1.50. And if you want to know more about what that actually breaks down to, this will tell you what the estimated total is. Now be mindful that this is for one way. So it's $1.50 transaction fee when you buy it, and it's $1.50 transaction fee when you sell it. So it's going to be $3. So that's going to be your fee for this particular contract. So if we look at a different one, that one didn't change. So let's find one that's different. Are any of these going to change? Maybe they won't. All right, so let's go to another one. I'm trying to identify if any of these are going to change because they do, but for whatever reason, it's
Maybe
not.
because your trading's not unlocked.
Well,
you're
yeah, two reasons. Your trading's not unlocked, and it does it also on the turbo futures too. But if you're locked, you might not see it.
I didn't see it on this side. Hmm.
Well, it shows it right there on your quotes widget too, doesn't it? If you click more, show the commissions on there or not. Okay.
Let me see if it pulls up on the CME group page. That actually might be fair.
Yeah, that wouldn't be Weeble's fees though.
It's true. So it could very well be because it's not unlocked. I'm not sure why. I guess I've noticed it changed before, so that could be a possibility. But I also noticed, now that I look at that, okay, I did change that.
Yeah, if you're following along at home, just on your real account, if you have it unlocked, be logged in 100%, and then it should follow what you're doing.
Yeah, this number should update. And you're right, it's because it's not unlocked. That actually brings me to another question that'll come up too. So during intraday hours, the affordability for these contracts is going to be way more sufficient or better for those who have small accounts. So if you come in here between, say, a $500, which is the minimum Webull requires you to have, and you say you have an account that you come in here with that's between 500 and 1,000, the contracts during the day or the intraday are going to be cheaper per contract than what they are during the aftermarket hours. So those aftermarket hours are going to be your after, so it's going to be after 6 p.m. and it's going to run through the night. And then the time that I have to think about it because of how the time zones are. Everything is Central Standard Time because it's based out of Chicago. So overnight, they are more expensive. They are much more expensive. They're actually really hard to get into if you have a small account. So I would encourage anyone who is coming in here to paper trade to look at the contracts, especially at Market Open, US Market Open, and be able to see the difference between what those contracts are. I created a cheat sheet for the group yesterday, I believe it was, or maybe it was the day before, that has what that breakdown looks like for those who have a small account. Let me pull it here. Because it can be intimidating for somebody to come in the evening to see, oh, well, everybody during the day said, trade crude oil, but at night it's super expensive. Like I can't get into that because my account isn't big enough. Well, during the day you can. Hold on here. There's so much information. Anybody have any questions while I'm looking for this? Actually, I see a hand up. Mark?
From the YouTube live chat, Happy Days asks, you covered this right off the bat, but he might have missed it. Can one's loss exceed the available margin in one's account, potentially resulting in debt with the platform, or does Webull end the trade when a loss exceeds a margin account amount?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So yes, you can exceed what you've purchased for your contract. When that happens, you would owe what is left of that contract if it did. And that is per Webull. Webull actually has a document they're going to be sending over to us so that we have it as a document within the group just to show that warning that's why it's imperative that you have those stop losses in place to keep from having that happen. Great question.
If you like the house you're currently living in, please use stop losses.
Yes, absolutely. All right, I found it, but I'm gonna have to clip it.
Could be in a van down by the river.
Yeah, literally. I
They
parked a
don't take
trailer
your
in my
van too.
backyard. Okay, let's see. Where did that go? All right. So for those of you who are in our futures community, I am sharing in the Zoom. So this is during the intraday hours. So these are the main stocks that we have. Sorry, the main futures we have that are semi-affordable, right? For those of us who come in here with a small account. I'll use myself as an example. So if you've heard my story, I came in January and I came up with a $500 account, and over the course of 10 months have been able to grow that exponentially. And that has been based on following all the rules that coach has put into place and building that over the course of time. So I have been able to do that. So when I come over to the future side, I wanted to make sure that I was able to do the same exact thing. And I've done that. I have been able to grow my futures account again exponentially, simply by following coach's rules and then finding the opportunities in here or within here that will give me the best dollar value for what my account could hold. Now, mind you, being that this is a margin account, I could come in here and I can do this over and over and over and over and over again. Now that goes without saying that I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours of screen time. I came in here in the beginning without knowing how to do anything. Literally, I couldn't tell you what a call was. I couldn't tell you what a put was, but I came in here with an empty cup. I ran with the training that American Dream Trading has provided, and I've been able to do what I've been able to do to this day. So that goes within futures as well. I can apply the same strategies, I can apply the same mindset, and I can do the same things on this side of it that I could on the stock side. So in the chat, uh, like I said, in the futures Zoom call, there is a list there of a handful of futures that you can trade during the intraday that will help you grow your small account. So go into your paper trading side and experiment with these and get to know how these work. You know, the MYM main is $57.20. You can get in and out of that, in and out of these pretty easy. You know, and then once you can figure out the mechanics on the paper trading side and you do decide to go over to the real money side, you can start with one, you know, and you don't have to go in big. You truly don't. You can go in here with a very small amount, one, two, if you want to shed, you know, however you want to apply the same rules that we do in stocks. And you can do the same exact thing. And you can just do it over and over and over and over again. And again, that's how I've been able to grow my account to where I have so far, which is exciting. But the caveat to that is you got to know your limitations. So always be mindful of there, you can still overtrade. And while now on the future side, because we can get in and out all the time, because that margin or that resets every single time you get in and out of a trade, now there's a bigger risk of overtrading or revenge trading. We don't want to come in here and do that. So keep that in mind as you come in here that you need to set a limit for yourself. So, for example, like myself, I know when I started with futures, my goal was to paper trade and make sure at the end of the day that I was green. That was my goal, just to be green. And then, you know, have the mechanics down while doing so. Now, mind you, my mechanics are pretty sharp. I can get in and out of a trade pretty easily. And I have managed to learn that over the course of time. But because of that, I was able to pick up futures pretty easily. Now, people aren't always going to pick it up just as easy as I did. It's going to take time, so don't rush yourself. So start with that one if you're ready to go into the the real money side of it. Start with one, get your mechanics figured out, just as you did when you started with shares if you were new to this and had never done this before. And start small. Get to know the stops, get to know how your mechanics work, get to know how the chart works, how volatile the stock is. You might find that, you know, the NQ is a little bit more volatile for you and you don't kind of like how that feels. So go find one that's a little slower. Do that for yourself. Find what's going to fit you. So, you know, I could go without saying, while mechanics are important, the mindset that you have to have going into here is way more important than any of it. And that's just my personal take on it. And I like your comment, Mark, about the stops. I will tell you that I won't ever hold anything overnight. Even still, I the thought of that freaks me out. So as a scalper, I have no business doing that. I want to know when I get out and I log out for the night that I'm not in anything. Because I don't need to wake up in the morning with surprises. I don't like surprises. Yeah, and Brandon mentions about news. So if I go up to the crude oil, so this morning around 10, oh, it would have been 10:30. Oh, let's see,
10:30
where is it
Eastern.
at? Yeah.
So news. I was thinking about this morning, but I was gonna save it into today. News. I I don't really trade news, but I know that news will give you the best trade setups. Like after the news is passed, right? So the news come out, and then you had the knee jerk reaction or whatever, and then once the candles like settle and prices in a whole nother area, that to me that'd be like the best trade setups for a while. I was just only trading on days, but I wasn't only trading on the days, but I was making sure that I'd be there if it had like a high news event. And so like they usually come out mostly at about 8:30. I mean, yeah, an hour before the stock market or whatever. And I'll just wait. And then after probably about like an hour or so, you'll see that price will try to be making its way back to where it was at or to keep on going up. So it give you a good setup after the news though. Don't be in before. Don't try to be a hero because you're gonna get stumped out for real. Just wait till all that is over and you'll see like it'd be a nice move after the news.
Absolutely. So yeah, so here this morning at 10:30, you can see right here when the news popped in. When I was watching it, I was because I wanted to see it, right? So if you're not familiar with how news can affect uh, the different futures, when you know that there's a time frame coming or something like that's coming up, watch it. Don't be in it, but watch it at least those first few times, just to get an idea of what can happen. This is a perfect example. I watched this knife drop so fast. It was kind of cool, and I get really excited about things like that. Like I love charts and graphs, so to see that happen and to be able to watch it and then to be able to understand what is happening and why it's happening. Seeing this knife drop here was pretty fun, and then I wrote it down for a while after that in a live stream. So that was also exciting to watch and watch it play out.
Yeah,
Great point.
and in this case, you're trading one commodity, right? One type of future. It's very specific. It's oil. It's not gold. It's not silver. It's not this S&P 500. It's not Nasdaq. So when you have the scheduled government news ahead of time for a very specific future that you're trading, whether it's gold, it could be corn, silver, oil, whatever, currencies, you need to be extra vigilant and listening and being aware when that news is going to come out. And it's publicly available. We, as an ADT, we were always publishing when those news events are going to happen before they happen, and we try to give everybody a heads up, within minutes before it happens. Maybe the oil's dropping, the oil supplies weren't what they wanted them to be. Did that affect the Nasdaq? Probably not. They didn't even care to notice, right? Because it's a different type of focus. They're technology focus, right? So they may or may not care about oil in the grand scheme of things. So you may not see the NASDAQ market move as much. Now, if, NVIDIA goes bankrupt, that's going to affect the NASDAQ. Is it going to affect oil? Probably not, right? So, because I know the whole economy's macro view is everything's connected, but you see my point. So if you're trading singular types of very industry specific things, you really need to pay attention to that relates to the exact future. In this case, oil.
So and that's the
Yeah.
oil chart. That's the oil chart that you're watching. Oil.
Yeah. Yep.
So look, go to the daily chart. I noticed something last night that all got a trade set up. If you go like to the daily candles,
Okay.
all right. So at 68, like all of them came to 68. Every time it come to 68, it turns around for like about the last 2 years or whatever. Ever since it got above 68 after the pandemic, like it shot way up high, but then it's going like every time it comes up, it don't go and make a new high, right? So it just all go almost up to a new high and then it just comes back down. to like 68. It's like the real support is like 67 something, but the whole number is 68. And so like if you ever catch it around 68, look out for the bounce to come back up. And so like if it comes down, like the chances are it's gonna go up because it touched that same support so many times over like I mean for the last 2 years from what I saw whenever I looked the back from the look back, and then it's just like going down in a wedge pattern.
Hmm.
Right? So you might have to shrink it down some more.
That's a good observation, though. 68 level.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's a strong support. If every time because it was down there, I think it was the beginning of this week. And so like as soon as they hit it, it just came up. But I noticed that the last I think 3 times that it dove down, it made a higher low. And then the chart is just like the range is getting tighter and tighter. So I don't know what's gonna happen whenever they don't have no more room to go up because they haven't like really made no new highs on the I might have been looking at the weekly chart. I know it was a higher time frame, you know what I'm saying? That I saw like the whole big picture. There you go. You see how it's like a triangle forming, a
Hmm.
wedge or whatever.
Yeah.
But every
Yeah.
time it come down to that area, it just get rejected. So like
I love looking at data like this.
yeah, I know y'all scalpers and everything, but like if you wait till it come down to that support, you can grab a trade and just ride it back up until it just start losing the strength or whatever. And then just take the profit and let it come back down. Or you can get short because it kids have been to it so many times. We keep doing the same thing over and over.
That's awesome. I love that. Thank you, Ralph.
Anyone in the YouTubes have questions? You type them in the chat. Well, right here's one right now. Stinky Pinky. Um, do you use Bookmap on your platform? How about I just go ahead and answer that myself for you? No, is the answer. We have our reasons why we don't. You can
Great
use
answer,
whatever
because I
you
don't even know
want
what
that
that
makes
is.
you. Yeah, you can use whatever you want to do trades, but yes, we do not use that here at ADT. It's not that we don't have individuals that subscribe to that, and I'm not saying it's neither good nor bad. It's just we do not use it. You feel free to use whatever you think helps make you a better trader, though.
All right. I see. I marked that gold. I'm curious. I'm gonna watch that. I'm gonna watch that because I love to watch data. Let's see. What else can we look at? Let's see if there's anything going on out here. Anything exciting? Yeah, Brandon, I agree. So I use the L2 a lot. I actually I like to go and place orders ahead of time using the L2 um, and wait for it to reach me and pick me up. I do that quite a bit, even still today after moving over to futures. I like to just test the theory and see how it works. And because I like to make this, like I said, as easy as possible. I don't need to come in here and make this harder for myself. Um, I don't have the patience to do that. So I will go in here and do that too sometimes. So I love the L2. So speaking of the L2, so if you're new to futures trading and you've never done it before, you have to subscribe to on Webull, you have to subscribe to um one of the two options that futures gives you for the L2. So if you do the version that's $11.99, your L2 will look like this. So my upper left hand side, this is what your L2 will look like. Or sorry, this is what your L2 will look like. And you have to have one or the other because you have to have real-time data. Otherwise, it won't work the way you want it to, and you'll lose a lot of money. You don't want to do that. So you have to subscribe to one or the other. So this is the $11.99 one. And this is what it will look like if you do the order book L2. This gives you 10 lines. I choose to subscribe to the 10 lines. It's $38.99 or $39.99. So it is $40 a month. Now, that is expensive, yes. However, if you use it and you use it like you need to get in and out of trades as you wish, it's worth it, in my opinion. And that's just based on how I utilize it. I can get in and out of a futures contract, lickety split, and make that money instantly. So I have no problem spending that $40 to do that because I trust my mechanics and my technical skills to get in and out of here to make that worth my while. So this is the 10 line version, and that's the it's $39.99. So when we talk about the L2, you have to have one or the other for the sake of real-time data. On TradingView, if you use TradingView, the real-time data is $7.99 or $7 a month for real-time on TradingView. I do both, therefore I subscribe to both. Thank you, Christina. Okay, what else we got in here? Gold. What is gold doing? So if I'm going to come in here and chart some gold, if anybody has any questions, raise your hand or keep asking them on the social platforms, and I'll just go through here and chart this real quick, and then we'll cover what the sales currently are. So I'm going to go ahead and leave this on the 1 minute for now because it provides me with some good data right here that I can go ahead and chart and prepare as if I was going to get into a trade. So it looks like here, and this is the gold main. And the gold main, it looks like there's a good resistance line here at 27.30. So I'm going to draw a line here. And I guess I can use my hotkeys too to do that, but I'm so used to doing it the long way. And I'm going to draw another line here at 27.27. And I can move that down a little bit if it'll let me. So I'm going to put that line of support there. I'm actually going to make this a little bit bigger and zoom in a little bit more and see if I can identify any critical areas that are within here. That would give me a more precise thought of where this future might bounce off of critical area or not. So I can tell just by looking at it, just this little bit of data that we have right here, that this 27.29.9 is an opportunity or is a critical area where we might see where'd it go? Sorry, where we might see a bounce. So I'm going to put a line there. And then I'm also going to look for anything else that might stand out within here. I'm going to go ahead and put another one right here at 27.28. So if you're going to identify what a critical area is, it's going to be where there's multiple touches in the same general area in a significant amount of time. So that's why I drew a line here, because there's there's multiple touches here, and again here. And if you go back further, there's another one right here. Now it doesn't have to be exact. It doesn't have to touch, but it's a good critical area to choose. Same with down here. We did the same thing here. There's some more touches right here, which identifies that it's a critical area for me. Again, everybody charts slightly different. but I do what works best for me. And as you can tell, it already broke through this resistance line that I drew, but now it's got to break and hold it, which we can tell by looking at it that it's not liking that. Now it's clipping the 9. So now I'll be curious to see what this decides to do. And while we watch that, I'll cover what we currently have for sales. So for on the futures side, for futures memberships, so super sale that's going on today, if you buy any future memberships, any futures membership, and you get a 2-for-1. So if you buy a month, you get a month free. You buy 6 months, you get 6 months free. Buy 1 year, get another year free. So guys, don't miss out on this special opportunity. Futures is so new for us. We want to build the futures community. And the beauty of being a part of it now, while we're getting this started, is it's like it gives that feel of being a more of an intimate group. We get to all grow together. We get to all learn together. We get to trade together and grow this, like I said, grow this community. So if this is something that strikes an interest to you, or individuals that might find this to be a big part of what they do, whether they are seasoned or not, the knowledge is always great. I add to that too that we have a 30% referral program where if you refer people, that also applies to this as well. So we want to make sure that you bring in your friends, guys. I know I have a few people that watch on a regular basis that have come into the community that may even be watching today. So if you guys know who you are watching on the future side, thank you for the support. I know that you guys have been watching my journey for a while. So I encourage everybody to come in here for that. Oh, what else? Am I missing anything? I think that's it. I hope so. If not, I'll make sure I do better tomorrow.
And you got your support at 2725.4.
Mm, 2720 what?
2725.4.
I do not.
Okay.
But I could. That's the low of the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I could chart that and if it was just me by myself, I would have that charted. But
Okay.
because of where it's sitting at currently, since it's the new high of day is up here and it looks like we might be channeling in this general area, I wouldn't care so much about what that is down at the bottom unless we started going to the downside. And then I would pay attention to that.
Okay. Let's see, because my VWAP is at the top up there. Okay, got you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so if you want one of those futures memberships, go to www.americandreamtrading.com. And from there you'll find you'll find the sales. Yeah, once in a lifetime sales. Yes. That's a great question, Brandon. So Brandon asks, what are the advantages of trading futures over options? I have to throw in a disclaimer out there to you. I have been trading shares majority of the time that I've been here. It wasn't until just a couple of weeks ago that I had started doing options. So the advantages and disadvantages of that, somebody from the group, one of the moderators who do the options on a more regular basis, can explain that to you better than I can. I do like options. And I still trade them. However, the technicalities of what's better or not, I'm not a good person to answer that.
Well, the one thing, the leverage is higher in an option than it is over a futures. However, futures don't have the Greeks to deal with. In other words, If a candle shoots up all of a sudden, how fast does that move the price up? Or if it drops down, how fast do you lose the money? The Greeks involved deterioration of the value over time of the contract during the day or the week, the month, however type of contract you buy. Futures, you don't have that. It's almost like a hybrid between trading stocks and options without the Greeks. So, if this drops down to 28.2 from where it is right now, that's fine. But once it goes back up to that, whatever the current price is on your chart, there at 27.30 something, when it goes back up there, that contract's now worth 27.32 again. So, unlike an option, if it has like a big knife drop, well, to get your dollar back that you lost, you may have to gain $1.20 or $1.30 on your chart. With the futures, it's sort of like a stock. The value is what it was before it dropped once it goes back up. So that's my understanding anyway. But and there's pros and cons to each one, right? I love options myself. You can make a lot of money trading it, and you can get your face ripped off. And the same thing here with futures, right? The safest of all three, stocks, options, or futures, of course, the safest would be stocks, because you actually own an equity, right? When you buy a stock, you're actually owning part of the company. So even if the stock goes down $5 a day, you can hold on to it for the rest of your life if you want to wait for it to come back up. You can't do that with a future or an option. It has a defined expiration date, where a stock doesn't. You can hold a stock till the cows come home if you really want to, right? So options and contracts have a date when it becomes worthless. So you could potentially lose, all of it if it drops and you hang on. And the big majority of us in ADT anyway are only day trading stocks options and futures. But you can swing trade them. You can buy them for the long term. You can buy right now. She's got already up there now. Gold. There's gold contracts you can buy clear out I don't know how far out. I know I've seen out a couple years if you really wanted to do that. So there's all kinds of swing trading and everything you do with all three types of investment vehicles. So I like the futures idea because there's no Greeks involving a deterioration of your contract. You can get in, get out, get in, get out. Yes, the fees are higher, but I like it. It's more stock-like.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like that we can apply the same uh, strategies over here too. I don't have to sit here and learn 50 strategies. So I like that. And keep it simple. Now I'm just watching gold. It's bouncing off that, what is that? Let's see it. It's bouncing off the 27309. And I know as a trader, I can come in here and I will sit and uh, I can sit in here and pick one and sit in here and be in it all day. I don't have to bounce around. Uh, like I would have if I was doing our hot stocks we have on the pre-market side. Uh, so the nice thing is that I don't have to do that here if I choose not to. I can pick one that has significant amount of movement and just stay in it. I don't feel the need to move around if I choose not to.
And we're not saying that futures is the best way to go. We're not. It's just by learning how to trade futures, this is another tool in your tool belt, right? Things there's depending on the economy. I mean, we know the economy, the world's economy, drives a lot of things. It may go flat for a while, right? Well, I'll go trade stocks or I'll go trade options. It gives you another tool in your tool belt, another skill set. And the skill sets that coach teaches here at American Dream Trading applies. Every one of those things that he teaches us applies to no matter what kind of trading we do. It's fantastic. I mean, it's like Dan said, she's primarily stocks or futures. 100% of what you learn trading stocks is transferable to trading futures, and trading futures is a totally different beast. And that's the exciting thing about Coach's teaching philosophy and what he teaches us. We're not learning 5,000 different indicators to put on our chart, right? Because all that does is give you analysis paralysis. We keep it simple. And that's what I like about it. And it's proven that it works across all different types of trades. His 2-minute EW strategy is fantastic on trading futures, just like it is on anything else. I've been doing more EWO trades with the futures, just so I can prove to myself and know that I know in my knower that I know that it does work with futures, since it's new to me also. And I know that I know that I know that it does work. That I can assure you. Whether you want to play the 2-minute EWO or you want to just do pure scalps, which I do both, but they do work. Fully transferable skills.
Yeah, and when you get your skill set down, you can scalp candles, which I love to do. That's one of my favorite things to do when I have the time to actually sit here and actually apply it. It's exciting. Yeah. Obviously, a really uh, an advanced skill to have, but it's a cool one to have if you take the time to learn how to do it.
I guess probably one of the big advantages is if you work a 9 to 5 job and you can't be sitting actively in front of a screen, you can trade options all night long if you want to, right? Pretty much Monday through Friday, right? So there's another
futures, not options.
time to trade or off futures. Yeah, excuse me. You can trade futures in the evenings if you want, while you're sitting around watching your sitcoms or whatever. You can sit there and do that. So it does give you more time to different trading. So.
Yeah, and if I look back, right, so I worked 8 to 5. Well, when I first started here, so granted, I would have had to learn the mechanics, right? I would have learned how to do the same thing that I had to do when I started doing stocks. Man, I probably could have, and I don't like to like go and look backwards, but I probably could have done, um, I could have left my 8 to 5 so much faster, just based on, how quickly I picked it up, had I done futures. However, there is risk, more risk involved with that. But I always think it's kind of fun to like think about like, man, if I, and that's one of the reasons why I came back over on the future side and started with that $500 account, because I wanted to recreate my wheel, right? Like this is what I'm known for doing, and I want to be able to do it again and be able to apply that for anybody who comes in here with a super small account. That you can apply the strategy, and you can, you know, with your mechanics, you can do the same thing over and over again. So I love that. And I hold true to that. So now let's going back down to the 21 here on gold for gold. And we got to remember too, so we're getting close to the end of the day. So uh, when we start getting closer to that end of the day for futures, the futures themselves, they start to get a little bit more erratic and a little bit more volatile. So just like when you're getting into the market in the beginning, be mindful of how close the time frame is and close to the end of the day. So for a new trader, I would suggest you're not in a like half hour or so. Now, granted, depending on who you ask, that time frame can change. So the last half hour of the day, there's going to be a little bit more volatility than anything like if I look at triple NQ, maybe it's not a good one. It's another one, the Dow or the S&P. Just be mindful as we get closer to the end of the day that you might see a steady increase or drops as the U.S. markets begin to close or get closer to close. You'll see some volatility here as well. So you just got to be mindful of the time of day that you're in as well. And then for when the futures open, same thing applies. Those first 3 3 to 8 minutes. I've noticed that for some of the future contracts, it's the first 15 minutes when it opens that there's a little bit more volatility. It's a little bit more erratic while it's trying to decide which direction it goes. So be mindful of when the market opens for the particular feature that you're looking at. We are coming up on the last 6 minutes of the day for today. So if you have any questions, go ahead and raise your hand so we can get those answered before we close this down for today. I do know that I'll run through one more time here the super sale that's going on today. So if you buy any future membership, you get 2 for 1. So if you buy 1 month, you get 1 month free. You buy a 6 month, you get 6 months free. You buy 1 year, you get 1 year free. And you can go to www.americandreamtrading.com to set up your membership. Well, if there's no other questions, we'll just keep watching. We'll watch the ES to close out the day. And this will be interesting to watch overnight. I like to look at data in general as just something that I do. I probably went with the fact of what I did professionally. So I'd be curious to see, how this affects. If you're new, come in here and just be like, okay, so if this ends on the upside, what is it going to do at the open? What will it do? Will it have a drop off? Are we going to see a significant drop off, or is it going to continue? So it's kind of fun to watch. And you get familiar with lots of screen time, just how some of these work and how different things affects it. And that's just my perspective. And if you look at the ES main, the margin that you can use to buy one of these contracts is $58.52. And that's located down here and what the margin is.
$96. You're not logged in, remember?
Oh, thank you. Good grief. Yeah, 96. I'll need to make a note.
You have it on that Excel that you posted earlier in the Zoom chat, so everybody has the correct price.
Hi, Freddie. So these are live, so they will be, as far as I know, unless something has changed, they'll be available for review. I can double check on that and let you know.
We don't have the replay feature, Ange, for
Okay.
this one, only because, like I've explained, people very rarely sit through a 2-hour recording, and it wasn't worth the time and effort to get these published. That doesn't mean that we won't review it at a later time. If, say, we had a large group of people that are committed to reviewing it, then it might be something that might be open in the future. But for right now, it's only going to be the recordings, snippets, clips of the training that will be available. As soon as we clip it and post it, it'll be available to all to review. But the entire broadcast or the entire recording of the Zoom call is not available at this moment.
It will
Can they
be,
view that on
YouTube will be
YouTube?
automatically posted, right?
That is correct. Yep. YouTube will be up, but there won't be any like special like link or anything like that. You can go to YouTube and review it. That is correct. So with that being said, great job, Ange, today with
Thank you.
kind of getting this up and running on the fly. So
Yes.
kudos to you.
Yes, it's not so bad. Not so bad. I may or may not have stressed myself out a little bit before this. That's okay.
Stress myself out every single day. It's okay.
Oh, I don't do that. But after this one's done, it'll be easy peasy going forward. Not that this was terrible, but
And by the way, the fun that we have daily at American Dream Trading doesn't end at 4 o'clock with this show. Why, may you ask? Somebody asked me why. Tell me more. I'll tell you anyway, even if you don't ask. Because at 5
Mark,
o'clock
tell us,
p.m.,
tell us, Mark, tell us.
we have at 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time the aftermarket show with Dawn as the host. And you'll see a lot of the same people that you see here today probably pop in, where she has a place. It's a place to go to unwind after trading all day. You can talk about your trades, things that went well, things didn't go so well, what frustrates you. Dawn almost always has she does. She always has a topic of discussion to further educate you in a fun, relaxed manner that where you're not worried about your trades, trying to learn things. So feel free to stop by at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. The Aftermarket Show on YouTube, AmericanDreamTrading.com.
Tom's not in here. I was going to ask her what the aftermarket's about tonight. That's okay. All right, guys. Well, again, thank you all for coming today. We will pick back up tomorrow at the same time, same location. Again, thank you all for coming and supporting American Dream Trading in the future side. And we look forward to seeing all of you tomorrow. Bring all your friends.
Thank you, Ange.
Thanks,
Thank you,
teacher.
everybody, for showing up.
Thank you.
All right, take a look at where to end the live stream, Ange. Underneath more live stream and then stop live.
Was that on the restream?
It could be on there as well, but on the Zoom, you could do it right from the Zoom.
Oh, okay. Let's see here. Where was that again?
Under more at the bottom, right next to the leave. There's a more button at the bottom. Actually, you can stop sharing your screen, I guess, and do it that way as well. And then more at the bottom.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So when I stop sharing, there's more options here than what there is.
Yeah.
Okay. So then it's under